Firstly, US power meter brand Stages has apparently gone bust. They abruptly laid off their entire workforce last week, and it appears to have shut down all operations. It also emerged that they were in the process of being sued by Taiwanese bike brand Giant, which manufactured quite a few of their products. Giant filed this lawsuit in February over a £15.5 million worth of unpaid invoices and products. The shutdown seems to have come out of the blue for some, including their UK distributor Saddleback. Saddleback told Road CC, "In truth, we aren't sure what's going on yet. Our brand manager is in contact, but we haven't been updated with anything as yet." They added that they'd cover any warranty claims for customers in the meantime, as they still have stock. So it begs the question, what has happened to Stages?
Well, one thing's for sure, they haven't paid their invoices, have they?
No.
Like,
Yeah, I was reading a DC Rainmaker article on this, and he was saying the news has kind of been swirling around the industry for months now. Apparently, they absolutely gutted their customer service team, and as a result, people who were customers who were potentially going through warranty claims or tech issues or whatever were getting in contact, and their response time was terrible, if at all they were getting a response. So,
will they even get their warranties fulfilled then?
well, Saddleback's saying that if you're a customer in the UK, you can do it through them because they have some stock currently, but there's presumably going to come a point where that isn't the case. A number of their key execs moved over to Giant as well, so it seems like it's in the background being gutted slowly.
Yeah.
But there's going to come a point. I mean, all of this hardware is related to software, and if there's no one to upkeep the software, then that's when the problem comes.
Seems a bit sneaky though that loads of executives are moving to Giant, and it's Giant saying that they're not paying their invoices.
Giant did announce in January 23 that they were acquiring a majority stake in Stages for $20 million. And then a few months later, it turned out that had fallen through. So it kind of feels like the executives moved across because something that was happening, they were going to merge, do some bits and pieces. Perhaps Giant started digging in a bit more and realized that it wasn't a very good purchase. Or perhaps if we want to look at it from the other end, perhaps they saw it was going down and they could just wait for it to crumble a bit more and get an even cheaper price for the business.
It's a popular product though, right? Like Stages power cranks.
I believe so, or at one point it was. I mean, maybe that's the question. They came through with their power meter in the crank, and they were almost one of the first sort of big players to do that. And they got in with Team Sky in the Froome and Wiggins era, so they became popular through that.
Yeah, I feel like I would imagine that they've dwindled over the last few years. So as far as I'm aware, Shimano cranks that had power used to come by default with Stages on, and I don't think they do anymore. I think they now do their own power meters. SRAM obviously have their own power meters which arrive on cranks, so it's probably been a lot harder for brands like Stages to be involved in this space because they have to be aftermarket. You know, Shimano and SRAM already have cranks that just arrive with power on if you're buying one with power on.
I'd probably do that as well. I'd probably just buy a bike. If I had the option of one coming with a power meter and not, I'd probably get the one with the power meter and just take the one it comes with.
Yeah.
Unless I'm seriously advised against using that one.
Yeah, and I think that's probably where they've been muscled out of it.
I feel like what Giant wants to do is acquire Stages so that Stages can become Giant's version of in-house power. Like, for example, Quark is for SRAM and whatever Shimano's is for Shimano.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, it's interesting that they obviously looked to buy it and then backed out, but it's a weird one from a customer's perspective. We were in the bike shop this morning, backyard bike shop, and James, the mechanic, he was saying he was waiting for something on order from them. So it's come very abruptly from an outsider perspective. It might have been rumbling on for a while, but it's just kind of like bang, all of a sudden happened.
On a side note, there's some other layoff news that's come through.
Yeah, Rapha closing their North America office effectively.
That's really interesting. That.
Yeah, this one it was all over Facebook and it had so much interaction in it. I don't know whether that's just because it's Rapha or not. They've apparently laid off 6 out of their 8 staff, and the other 2 have been relocated.
6 out of 8 staff specifically in North America.
In North America.
To be honest, I don't quite get why they would have an American office because, like, they've had a London HQ since day one. I'm assuming the bulk of their stuff happens there. As we know, the industry is shriveling. So it makes sense to cut costs, and I guess it makes sense to cut costs of the American office because they probably, I'm assuming they're not core business functions because they will presumably be based in London.
Yeah, Bentonville, Arkansas is where it is, and apparently they have a clubhouse there. They just said it was reasons, it was down to consolidation efforts. I don't know what that really means.
It's just reducing costs.
Reducing costs.
They probably built the American stuff because they wanted to feel like they're more present in America for all of the growth in the American space, and they've probably got that now and don't need it anymore. So it's cut some costs.
Yep.
However, Colnago appeared to be immune to the effects of the cycling industry shrivel. This is the shrivel. So it's revealed that the Italian bike manufacturer turned over £47 million last year. That's an increase of 33% on 2022. So that is massive growth where we are at the minute. That's also with a £12 million profit, which also is massive in this space. That's a huge profit.
Yeah, it's significant because they're one of the few bike brands that are currently experiencing growth rather than decline, isn't it?
In fact, Colnago's growth has tripled since the brand was taken over by new UAE-based majority stakeholders in 2020. So what's their secret? Well, CEO Nicola Rosin reckons it's partly the Pogacar effect. They currently sponsor his UAE Team Emirates squad and the women's UAE Team ADQ. They also say it's their strategy of targeting the ultra high-end expensive drop bar bike market. I would say that's definitely fair. I would imagine Pinarello had a massive, massive, massive uplift as the whole Team Sky effect and Ineos following that.
Yeah.
And now Pogacar's the top boy. It makes sense that the bikes that he rides, everyone wants to ride as well.
Yeah, one of the things the CEO said is that they've thrived because they have relatively few SKUs, as in products. They stock relatively few products and they focused on that. So I think that is definitely a trap that businesses fell into during COVID. They bought big and they tried to order lots of stock because number one, it was doing well, and number two, there were delays. So it's kind of
they're getting all the stock too late
Yeah.
as when the boom's already gone.
Yeah. So perhaps it appears that they've got round it well.
Well, it seems like a good acquisition for the new stakeholders, doesn't it?